Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening.
Okay, hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. So today in here we would like to present our group is about coherence and cohesion, an analysis of the final project abstract of the undergraduate students of PGRI SEMARANG. So this is about the subject of discourse analysis. So before we jump to the discussion, I would like to introduce the members. So the first, that is Andi Nur Alam. And the second, there is Andi Ismi Mutia Majid. The third, there is Arman Shah. And fourth, there is Arwini Arfa. And fifth, there is Muhammad Nurul Ikram Kadir. And the last, me, myself, Andi Eda Pratiwi. So without further ado, let's start it. To the first speaker, time is yours.
Yeah, thank you for the chance that has been given. So the first is about abstract. So the abstract of this article attempts to reveal the coherence of the abstract of the final project reports of the undergraduate students of PGRI University Semarang, Indonesia. And its objectives are: the first is to reveal the micro-level coherence, how each sentence is connected to the other to make logical relation, and the second is to discover the macro-level coherence, direct use of cohesive devices like conjunction, reference, substitution, or ellipsis, so as to make the whole text coherent. Several abstracts of the students' final projects were selected randomly to be analyzed. Since it is a qualitative research, the data were in the letter of words or sentences. The results shows that the abstracts analyzed haven't satisfactorily achieved coherence to some cohesive devices like reference, conjunction, ellipsis, which are used to link one sentence to the other. And some grammatical mistakes are also found, such as the plural forms and active passive voice.
Okay, thank you so much, Andi Ikram. That was about the abstract. Now, the next one is about the introduction, will be delivered by the second speaker. So, the second speaker, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the chance that given to me. I will explain about the introduction. According to Brown 2004 states that only very few learn to express themselves clearly with logical, well-developed organization that accomplishes an intent purpose. As it is by Ken 2000, from the studies conducted by Bland, Noblit, Armington, and Gay in 1919, the early learners of a new language were dominated by the difficulty in vocabulary, while the advanced learners as students in university are dominated by the genre and the rhetorical organization problems. A text is considered incoherent when the words or sentence in each paragraph are not fitting together well. The student inability to write well is assumed due to the complexity of the foreign language itself, as in its grammar, vocabulary, and rhetorical convention. This assumption is quite correct of the fact that the vocabulary and grammar in English are totally different from the vocabulary and grammar in Indonesia. That's why the difficult in mastering this language composed grammar and vocabulary will of course contribute to the inability to write a text well. Thank you. I Thank you. Back to the moderator.
Thank you, Andy. It's me. That was the explanation about the introduction. Now we move to the next speaker. Will be delivered about literature review. That is the abstract of the final project, and there is also about the cohesion and coherence. So, the next speaker, time is yours.
Well, thank you so much for the time. Now I'm going to explain about literature review. The first one is abstract on the final project. Abstract, as part of the final project, report should also be written concisely, clearly, and most importantly, cohesively and coherently. According to Koopman, 1997, abstracts that have become increasingly important as electronic publication databases are the primary means of finding research reports in a certain subject area today. Therefore, the essential point or everything that is relevant to the knowledge of the potential readers should be included in the abstract as it is the summary of the whole paper. And the next one is cohesion and coherence. Cohesion refers to the ways in which sentences are connected by cohesive devices through which readers can perceive the semantic relationship between the sentence. Meanwhile, at the macro level coherence, texts achieve coherence because they are obviously about something. That is, there is an identifiable topic or topics. Coherence is the unity of the text in which each sentence or each paragraph in the text hangs together to form a discourse that the readers can perceive its meanings. So I think that's all from me, and I offer back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Andi Nur Alam. That was the explanation about the literature review. So next will be delivered by me. It is about method. So since the data is in the form of words, phrase, or sentence, so this research is classified as qualitative. So there were 3 abstracts were chosen at random from the English department of PGRI University Semarang to be analyzed for coherence and cohesion. So the students A in 2014, student B 2014, and student C 2014 wrote those abstracts. And the writer is concerned with how the ideas are presented and delivered to the readers in the text in order to analyze their coherence. And then, as the result, the writer in here concentrated on investigating the coherence of the students' writing on their final project from the standpoint of their logical relationship. So the writer went through some steps to analyze the text. So he began by breaking up the abstract paragraphs into the sentence. Then he analyzed each sentence using beam, rim, analyze. And finally, he analyzed their cohesion by looking at cohesive device used to connect one sentence to the others. Okay, so that is for me. The next discussion will be delivered by the next speaker. It is about the findings. So please, the speaker, time is yours.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Actually, for this time, I would like to explain about the findings of our material, but there are 4 findings for slide for me. And the first is about the analysis of the micro-level coherence, and there are 3 abstracts in here. And the first abstract by student in 2014, the phrase "to find out" is repeated 3 times to indicate the focus of the study. In this case, letters are used in which several phrases in each clause were deleted. And the next is about the sample of this study was 23 students, and the technique which used is collecting data where are oral tests. And the next is about the components to measure are grammar, vocabulary, comprehension, fluency, and pronunciation. Maybe will be the next slide, please. Okay, sorry. The next is about the form, the data analysis. The writer got the mean of improvement speaking skill of the student for pretest. It could be categorized into 4 by referring to the table of the criteria of student competence. The next is about the treatment. What is the treatment was applying of dance games in teaching speaking. Then the writer gave post-test, and the writer got the mean of improvement speaking skill of the student of post-test. The next after that, the writer got the result of the test. So there was a significant difference of the student speaking skill before and after being taught using dance games. The next slide. Maybe this is the third slide for me, and there are abstract 2 by student B. Actually, same of the year before, 2014. The theme is direct and indirect speech, and is followed by RIM, a material that is difficult to be rules about it. And the next is about in this research. The research is interested in analyzing direct and indirect speech. The researcher applied descriptive qualitative research. The object of the study was the direct and indirect speech, actually, and the researcher found that said is the dominant main verb applied both in the indirect 63 until maybe 33%, and simple present tense is often used in direct speech. There are two people of the first is about the 40%, and while simple past tense is often found in indirect speech. Maybe it is about the 78, 57% in that news item text. The last slide is about the abstract 3. Abstract 3 by student, actually 2014. The object of this final project, the researcher conducted through experimental design. Both groups are administered both pre-test and post-test, but the treatment is only to experimental group, and the pre-test was given before treatment, and after treatment was done, the students were given post-test. The written suggests the English teacher to have a good learning teaching process, and hopefully it will make the student interested in learning, so it can motivate the student and stimulate them to be communicative in learning English. Maybe it's the last. Okay, this is the last slide for me, and there are two the cohesion of the text. The first is about the local cohesion, maybe, and the last is about the grammatical cohesion for this business. Okay, thank you for the time. I will back to moderator.
Okay, thank you so much, Karmansha. That was extensive explanation, long explanation about the findings. So thank you. Well, let's move to the next discussion. It is discussion itself will be delivered by the next speaker. So the next speaker is yours.
Okay, thank you for the chance that has been given. This part about discussion. Overall, if we observe the three abstracts mentioned above without regarding their grammatical accuracy, the logical relationship cannot clearly be identified. Just for intense text, one sentence. 2. The pronoun in refers to rhythm, mean in sentence 6. But sentence 7 doesn't cohere with the sentence 8. For discussing the the treatment why sentence 7 discusses that mean. So there is no logical relationship between sentence 7 and 8. Likewise, sentence 8 and 9 in text 3 don't show the relation sign since the two sentences discuss different realms. Sentence 8 discuss discovery learning, while sentence 9 discuss a good learning teaching process. The students use pronoun is the conclusion, but the pronoun it doesn't refer to the different discovery learning. It refers to a good learning teaching process. The last sentence in sentence 11 in text 3, the pronoun it is still obscure whether it refers to a learning teaching process or discovery learning, since there is no signal of semantic relation. In text 2, the students try to relate each sentence to the others with some words repetition. For example, the phrase direct and indirect speech in sentence 1 is repeated many times in sentence 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 10 to form chains of the running text. It is a little bit more coherent anyway compared to the other two. Abstract for the logical relation is quite apparent. By using word repetition, the students want to carry and advance the theme of discourse. However, she didn't use sentence adverbials as signals of semantic relation. Therefore, the unity of the text seems to be clumsy or doesn't run smoothly. The next. And then, so the unfilability of the sentence adverbial in the abstract may be due to the limited knowledge of the students on how to apply them in order to relate ideas or to reinforce earlier ideas. The following sentence adverbials are very important to be used in writing academic paper. For instance, however, nevertheless, on the other hand, after all, used to relate ideas cohesively, furthermore, moreover, in addition, and etc. are used to reinforce earlier ideas, therefore, consequently, hence are used to relate ideas casually. Likewise, similarly, are used to relate ideas equally. However, such sentence adverbials are rarely used by the students in writing their abstract, and consequently, the logical relation is not quite apparent. Okay, I think that's all about discussion. Back to moderator.
Okay, thank you so much, Arwini, for the explanation about the discussion itself. So here we are in the last. It is about the conclusion and will be delivered by the last speaker also. So last speaker, time is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the last is about conclusion. So the result of the study shows that many of the students still find difficulties in writing abstract coherently. And the fact that the sentence adverbial like however, nevertheless, yet, furthermore, moreover, in addition, which are quite important to relate ideas cohesively, are not used in the text. And however, the students have tried to link their sentences in the text in a number of ways, like using lexical cohesion and grammatical cohesion, till they fail to meet the reader's expectation. It is therefore recommended that the lecturer, particularly those who teach academic writing, should enhance the students' academic writing competence through having a lot of practices in writing. And it is also important to note that the students still have difficulties in constructing passive and active sentences. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you. Give it back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you so much for all the speakers, for all the explanation. So here we are at the end of the session of this presentation. So please, if you have any question, you may deliver it now in the group WhatsApp. We are going to discuss it over there. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you also for others. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.